Welcome into the Sactown Sports Kings Recap. My name is Chris Watkins. The streak is unfortunately over. We will not be lighting the beam tonight. It's okay. It's vacation time. It's time for us to enjoy this next 24 hours. You know, Thanksgiving happening tomorrow, obviously. It's all right. It's okay. As is the title of this stream, don't cry because it's over. Smile because it happened. What a fun stretch of games that was. I was in here yesterday talking about how we should just enjoy that moment. Enjoy the fact that the team went on that 7-game win streak. They had definitely, I mean, for everyone who watched the game tonight, the Kings absolutely had a chance to extend the win streak to 8. They just didn't have it tonight. I think that was definitely the theme of the night. It was just absolutely not their night. As my cat joins in on the stream. Yeah, it was just a very, very tough night. The broadcast mentioned it several times. It might have sounded like an excuse, but I think it is totally legitimate. The second night of a back-to-back. They came to Atlanta yesterday. Here's my cat really trying to get involved in this live stream. They were on second night of a back-to-back. Really, really tough game last night in Memphis. Atlanta is no slouch to come against. We saw Trae Young have one heck of a night tonight. That's exactly what you hope to not happen on the second night of a back-to-back. I think Trae absolutely carried Atlanta tonight. with his offense. I mean, he was quiet, it seemed. Well, he wasn't quiet in that first half. He didn't take a three until the end of the first half, and then absolutely exploded down the stretch where he hit a couple incredibly deep Steph Curry level threes. Nothing you can really do about that. That's just an elite shot maker making some absolutely insane shots. The stream has begun. Let me change that bottom ticker right there. Let's get into it. The Sacramento Kings did lose tonight by the score of, was it? Oh, did I have 106 on there? It was 105. Whoops. Oh no, it was 106. I am right. 106-115 to the Atlanta Hawks in Atlanta. Very, very poor shooting night for the Kings. They shot 46% from the field. It really did feel like worse than that for a majority of this game. They shot 30% from three. The threes were not falling. Kevin Huerter did not have the return that he was hoping for, that we were all hoping for, to Atlanta. He finishes with 13 points on 4 of 10 shooting, 3 of 7 from three. That's okay numbers for most guys, but with what we've seen from Kevin Huerter, that's not the type of game he was expecting to have and wanted to have tonight. Slow game from De'Aaron Fox. He ended up putting up 18, 5, and 5, but on 7 of 20 shooting. His shot wasn't there tonight. His jump shot wasn't falling at all. We saw last night he was able to be incredible from three-point range. Tonight, just 1 of 5. His only make being late in that fourth quarter from the corner. His shot wasn't falling tonight, so it was tough. It was going to be an uphill battle. Once we realized Fox didn't have it, I thought Sabonis had a pretty solid night. Nothing spectacular. Ends up with a great stat line of 15 points, 13 rebounds, 7 assists on 6 of 11 shooting. But from the Kings side, the star of the night, and if I were to give a player of the game, it would be Malik Monk, who had 27 points off the bench in 26 minutes. He was 12 of 18 from the field, 3 of 7 from three, and was absolutely just carrying the Kings offense for a large portion of the second quarter and in the third quarter when they really, really couldn't get anything going. Big shout out to Trey Lyles, the other Trey. Man, my cat is really messing with me. Shout out Trey Lyles, who had a really good first half, but couldn't keep it going in the second half. But I thought Trey remained active throughout the game, and I thought it was a good performance tonight from Trey Lyles. But on the other side, it was about their Trey. Absolutely. Trae Young finishing with 35 points, 11 of 19 from the field, 4 of 7 from long range. Kings had a really tough time stopping him. He got loose 2 to 3 times, especially those he had a couple step back jump shots from about the free throw line that he found himself wide open on. That was not ideal defense on Trae Young. That's definitely somebody that you have to know that you need to contain, and the Kings just didn't do that tonight. Pretty much kept everybody else in check. If you go down the board, DeAndre Hunter had a nice night. He hit a clutch 3 down the stretch. He finished with 13 and 10. Clint Capella, a pretty quiet night, 11 points, 14 boards. DeJounte Murray, nothing to write home about, 15 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists on 5 of 16 from the field. So really rough night from DeJounte Murray, but the Kings could not capitalize on the poor night. Atlanta just got a lot of small contributions from all of their role players, and that's a good win for the Atlanta Hawks on a night where neither team really had it. They were definitely able to show a little bit more poise and control of that game. Not ideal from the Sacramento Kings side. I want to get into some of the numbers from the win streak, though, which was absolutely insane. Quite I wouldn't expect the Kings to go on another 7-game win streak throughout this year. During this 7-game win streak, they put up a graphic today on the broadcast. The Kings were first in points per game during their 7-game win streak, put up 128.9 points per game. They were first in field goal percentage in those 7 games, 53%. First in assists per game at just over 30 assists. First in offensive rating, which is pretty much points per 100 possession. And then first in point differential at 11.7 points per game. What a streak, man. What a streak of basketball. We have not seen them play that well. Right here, MC has this nice little nugget right here. Yeah, it was the Kings' best win streak since the 2004-2005 season. It has now came to an end. Very, very sad stuff for the Sacramento Kings. And they just didn't have it tonight at all. Really, really tough shooting night. There was a seal on the rim for a majority of the game, and it really stayed on there, and they just couldn't get really anything. The Hawks in the first half were absolutely dominating the paint. They were 17-23 in the paint. Their biggest lead was 19 in that first half. It was really just the Kings trying to play catch up for a majority of that game. And on a night where they didn't have it, I will say I was incredibly impressed that they were able to keep it within 15 to 10 points for a majority of that second half and that second quarter. They absolutely were not hitting any shots, but I thought Davion Mitchell had an incredible game defensively. He definitely made an impact, brought the lead at one point down to 6. And, they that was kind of the story of the night, where they just kept knocking on the door but couldn't break through. But I thought Davion was incredibly impressive in his stretches of play tonight. You just would have liked to see it on a better offensive night, because I really think Davion did play some winning basketball tonight, and he deserved a better result with his effort. But as I mentioned, this was from the Kings side. It was all about Malik Monk. He was keeping them in the game for a large majority of it. Again, Trey Lyles had a nice little stretch where he kept the Kings in it in the first half. But just wasn't enough. Defensively, this team has a lot of work to do. Allowed 70 points in that first half, 72 points in that first half. That's just not going to cut it against anybody, especially an Atlanta team that is not a good shooting team at all. We saw that for stretches of today where Atlanta just could not hit a shot to save their life. There was a period where I believe Kyle Draper on the broadcast brought up Atlanta had missed 15 of 18 shots at one point, and the Kings could only get it to as close as 7 points. And that's tough when on a night where, the other team finally isn't making a ton of shots. The Kings have had pretty bad luck in terms of other teams just not having it. And Atlanta absolutely didn't have it for a large majority of tonight. And the Kings couldn't capitalize. And shout out Atlanta, who did close out that game. I mean, down the stretch there, the Kings again found themselves making mistakes at inopportune moments, but Atlanta absolutely capitalized on it down the stretch with DeAndre Hunter hitting that 3, and then Trae Young hitting that insanely deep 3 from a couple steps in from the logo. Atlanta absolutely took this game. Really, really tough stuff to see. Some quick notes that I did have on the game. I love to see Mike Brown implementing that press, that blitz, blitzing Trae Young right when he passes half court. They had a lot of success doing that against Steph Curry in that home game against the Warriors, and I think that really helped them seal that game down the stretch, where they just forced the ball out of Steph Curry's hands and made other players beat them, and that led to them winning. The Kings also played a zone tonight. They were absolutely just trying to find anything that could get them stops. The zone didn't work out too well. They gave up a couple quick threes off the zone. So they were definitely searching tonight. Mike Brown went to his bench early. I believe 9 players played in that first quarter for Mike Brown. So fatigue was absolutely something on the team's mind. And I do think it did have a big impact on tonight's game. But all they can do now is rest. They have the rest of tonight off, obviously, have tomorrow off. They arrive in Boston. And then Friday night, we rolled that ball out one more time on the road against the Boston Celtics, the number 2 offense in the NBA behind the Sacramento Kings. And I'll tell you what, if the Kings play defense like they did tonight, they're going to get ran off the court in Boston, because Boston actually does play defense, and they're gonna force the Kings into some tough looks. And if the Kings can't hit shots again on the road, Boston's not going to show them any sympathy, and Boston's going to come out swinging, as Boston is currently holders of the best record in the NBA. So absolutely something to look out for in that next game is points, and who can prevent the other team from getting points. Let's see here. Go ahead and load up the chat with your thoughts from tonight's game. I'll definitely make sure to mention them. Here we have a comment from Ray Smooth. Lots of careless turnovers tonight. They couldn't make any of their shots again. Thought this was particularly poor performance from Fox tonight. I completely agree with that. I don't think De'Aaron had his best game at all tonight. I again think fatigue did have a big part in it. We did see him come up hobbling a couple times tonight. I think Matt mentioned on the broadcast that he saw Fox limping last night in Memphis. Don't want to make excuses, but maybe he's got a nagging little ankle or knee issue that's bothering him. But 4 overs tonight on 5 assists for De'Aaron. That's sloppy basketball. He was sloppy last night as well down the stretch. He's got to tighten that stuff up. It was a poor night. He was 3 of 7 also from the line. That can't go without mention. He's been really, really good at the free throw line this year, shooting above 80%. For him to go 3 of 7, kind of have a relapse, if you will. Not great to see from De'Aaron Fox, but I expect him to fully bounce back and have it not be a trend. A big storyline that continues to be of note is the poor performances of Keegan Murray. Yet another slow night for him. Only 4 points. He was 0 of 5 from the field. He's got a couple clunkers here. If you look at it, really in the month of November, I'm just going to read his point totals for his games in the month of November. So he has 7, 3, 6, 14, 2, 21, 4, 13, 2, and 4 points in November so far in all of his performances. It's been really, really tough, and it's about as bad as it's ever looked right now. Yesterday was getting absolutely dominated at the rim, was getting treated like a rookie. His shot was getting sent into like the third row last night. We saw him get blocked again tonight, get fouled, having pretty easy opportunity to get an and one bucket. Couldn't finish the easy lay-in under the hoop. He really just can't get anything to fall. His 3-point shot tonight, I thought, looked better appearance-wise. It definitely looked like it had a good chance to go in, but it just absolutely did not, as he was 0 of 3 from three-point land. He is now, let's count this up. In his last 4 games, he is 1 of 15 from three-point range. In his last 4 games. That's going all the way back to the Brooklyn game where he was 0 of 2. He was 1 of 6 from 3 against Detroit, 0 of 4 last night against Memphis, 0 of 3 tonight in Atlanta. So, 1 of 15 in his last 4 games from 3. Keegan cannot find the bottom of the basket to save his life. Very, very unfortunate to see. If Keegan can get this thing going, again, Harrison Barnes is starting to kind of find his game. He had 8 points, 7 assists or 7 rebounds tonight. Nothing spectacular from Harrison, but I thought he did play pretty well tonight. As a collective, I just think the team was pretty tired and it showed. Let's see here. Ray again. Should the Kings make an effort to run something for Keegan to start off games? Hasn't looked like he's been involved much in the offense, so he's just running around a little lost. The first play of the game tonight, they did run for Keegan. They ran a little post up for him, and he completely short-armed it, and I believe he airballed it. That is something that we saw in the first stretch of Keegan's career here in Sacramento, especially in the summer league. Every single game, they ran the first play for Keegan Murray. It was usually a pin down in the corner that would get him a shot in rhythm. And they have not gone to that once so far this season from what I've seen, especially not the first play of the game. I think it's tough. It's a tough balancing act where typically here in Sacramento, we are hyper focused on rookie development because typically we're picking high and our rookie is the guy that we're anticipating to take us to another level. This isn't quite the situation here. We have a pretty good team, pretty good roster. You kind of have to balance trying to win with trying to develop Keegan. And I think at the moment, winning is winning. No pun intended. Winning is winning by a landslide in terms of that counterbalance. I think this team is a lot more focused on trying to get W's than trying to find Keegan his shots. I think what Keegan's got to do is really just simplify his game and try and get his shots off where he can. I shouldn't say I don't feel like he's pressing. I think he's pressing a little bit, but I've liked when he is pressed. I think he's got to, the only way he's going to break out of this shooting slump is by continuing to shoot the basketball and not be afraid to put up points. Eventually his shot is going to fall. He's a shot maker. He is a bucket. He's eventually going to slip out of this. It might not be the same Keegan Murray that we saw to start the season, but Keegan Murray has points in him and he is an NBA scorer. He's just, this is, again, we are 15, 16 games now into his rookie season. He's still learning. He's learning about the physicality. He's also, I'm sure, incredibly overwhelmed on the defensive end where Mike Brown is putting a lot of pressure, not just on Keegan, but on the entire roster to kind of always be sharp if you're going to be on the court at all times. So he's just as lost, if not more lost defensively than offensively. So I'm sure it's just a lot going on for him. But I'm pretty confident that his offense at some point during this season is going to start clicking and we're going to see the Keegan Murray that we saw at the start of the year. It's just, he's got to work through this and it does not look good right now. And it does feel like we are teetering on the point of, is this doing more harm than good at this point? Are we affecting his confidence to a point where it could be doing real damage and he it affects his development? That's a real thing that Mike Brown is going to have to consider, possibly bringing him off the bench again. His best basketball so far this season has been off of the bench. That's how he started the season, and then he played so well that it was really impossible to keep him out of the starting lineup. But now that Keegan Murray has found his struggles, will Mike maybe look to move him to the bench? I think that's exactly why Mike didn't start him at the start of the year, was because he was expecting Keegan to go through this same exact kind of struggle, but he didn't. And so Mike felt the confidence to put him in the starting lineup. And now we're seeing the risk of that not paying off, that Keegan is now really, really struggling. And hopefully he can, like I said, hopefully this isn't damaging his confidence too much. And, if Mike does have to move him to the bench, let's hope that that isn't just another nail in his back, if you will. I don't know if that's too vicious of a visual, but you just don't want to overwhelm him too much. He's already clearly thinking, I think, a lot about his game, and he's in his head quite a bit. I think benching him could just add to that stress, and that could do more harm than good. But like I said, I mean, this team is trying to win ball games right now, and they're going to feel sympathetic for Keegan for sure. But at the end of the day, if he's hurting their chances of winning, you got to try and explore other options, and he's got to be. It's part of being a professional, man. It could be a hard lesson for him to learn, but part of being a professional is there's always going to be somebody right behind you ready to take your job. And I don't quite know if the Kings have that guy right now on their roster, but I think it might be a valuable lesson for Mike Brown to teach Keegan that he's already not in the closing lineup. That goes to Malik Monk. Is he going to move him to the bench? I laugh because this comment just came in from S. Absolutely hilarious. Trade Keegan for Tyrese Halliburton. Yeah, let's not. We won't go into a Tyrese deep dive, but I actually was keeping up with the Pacer game today. They are playing the Kings in a couple days here at the end of the month on November 30th. So I was keeping up. Tyrese really struggled tonight. He did finish with 10 points, 14 assists, but Tyrese had 4 of 15 from the field. So a bad night for Tyrese Halliburton. Maybe his trade value is tanking. Tyrese Halliburton not that good. So maybe the Kings can swoop up on him. I'm just kidding. Please don't attack me. Let's see here. Anything else in the comments? Um, yeah, for sure. Adrian right here. Part of me thought the game was there to be had with a little better shooting, but totally get why they're gassed. Important to get back to their winning ways. Absolutely. I agree with all of that. The game was absolutely there for the taking. The Hawks could not make a shot. They could not pull away. The Kings kept it within 15 to 10 points for a majority of the second quarter and third quarter. And, they kept themselves within striking distance. They just kind of needed to get that spark. I thought Malik Monk brought that spark. He had a couple absolute highlight dunks that I thought were going to get things going. But, they need Kevin Huerter to be elite from three. Harrison Barnes had wasn't quite looking for his shot out there. Trey Lyles wasn't knocking down threes either. So the Kings just didn't have it. And, like you said, Adrian, I completely understand why they were gassed, but it is time for them to shake that off and get back to their winning ways. Yeah. This is an interesting question too. Is Keegan's shot completely off or just no rim luck? I think tonight I did see, like I said, I earlier, I think his shot looked a lot better tonight in terms of the path that it was taking to the rim. And, he was probably unlucky to have one or two of those fall out. But in these past, however long you want to say he's been struggling for, I think his shot has looked different in terms of its approach to the rim. It's looked like it's gone left or right or way too far. Where in the beginning of the season, it felt like Keegan was locked in, and it was just a matter of if he was going to hit back rim or front rim or right down the middle. So I'm no professional shooting coach. I can't tell Keegan how he can improve that, but maybe Luke Laux, who has helped De'Aaron Fox with his jump shot, can give Keegan a couple pointers there, because De'Aaron's shot has looked absolutely incredible this year. So big ups to Luke Laux on that one. Is there anything else anyone would like to talk about here before we head out? Going to do a little bit of a shorter stream here. So honestly, I can get to enjoying my Thanksgiving break here. Shout out everyone who is going to do big things tomorrow for Thanksgiving. Got the 30-pound turkeys out there. Wow, random thoughts. We went to the game tonight in Atlanta. Cool, very very cool. Kings look amazing in person. They didn't look too great tonight, but on a night where they didn't have it again, for them to make that such a close game, I think was impressive. Second night of a back-to-back. I've been through it. It's a valid excuse, but sometimes you gotta, there's no excuses. You play the game, and you gotta win it. They call those schedule losses. They don't have to be losses, but you're definitely playing an uphill battle when you play on a second night of a back-to-back in a completely different town. So not ideal for the Sacramento Kings tonight, but they do have, let's preview a little bit here. They do have the Boston Celtics on Friday, so definitely enjoy your Thanksgiving. Hopefully the Kings have a good team bonding Thanksgiving on the road. I'd imagine they'll do something fun with all the players. But then Friday, going against the Boston Celtics, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, and the Boston Celtics, who I've mentioned are the number 2 offense in the NBA right now. It's going to be a tough matchup for the Sacramento Kings. I mean, just on Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, you hope that Keegan shows up, because they're going to need some length in order to defend those two, and also to exploit those two on the defensive end. Boston is one hell of a team. We saw, obviously, last year they made it to the NBA Finals. They've, where the Warriors have struggled coming off of that, the Boston Celtics have taken that right in stride, and are looking like they're primed and ready to make another finals run. So that should be a very exciting game on Friday. Hopefully they come out with a little bit more energy, a little bit more aggression on that one. I would honestly expect Domantas Sabonis to have a huge night in Boston. He has always traditionally killed the Celtics, even when he was in Atlanta. In Indiana, Boston really doesn't have much of a paint presence without Robert Williams. They really only have Al Horford, and he's not nearly as physical or as strong as Domas. So I would expect Domas to kind of bully his way around in the paint on Friday, and really kind of get to his stuff and have them really run everything through Domas, because Boston is a really, really good team, but they do have a few holes, and big men is definitely one of them. They're going to have to defend 3-point shooters against Boston. They've got now Malcolm Brogdon, Jaylen Brown's a capable shooter. Jason Tatum's an elite shooter in this league. Grant Williams is somebody who can stretch the floor. Even Al Horford can stretch the floor. Derek White can absolutely stretch the floor. Peyton Pritchard's a floor stretcher. Every Boston Celtics fan right now is yelling, Sam Hauser, Sam Hauser. I know. Sam Hauser is an absolute bucket. The Kings are going to have their hands full defensively. They're going to have to guard the perimeter. It's going to be a tough one on Friday as well. I can't lie. The important thing is they did already get their win on this road trip last night in Memphis. Not really too much to worry about on that end. The Kings will come out of this road trip still above 500, still with their heads above water, and then come back on Monday to play Phoenix and Sacramento. No days off, man. That is another tough matchup that's going to present its own set of difficulties. But hopefully the Kings, with a 2-day rest heading into Monday, can take care of that one. I am going to head out. Thank you all so much for hopping in here. This was fun. Fun to do a nice little back-to-back Kings recap. The Kings lose tonight, 106-115. The streak is over. The Sacramento Kings winning streak ends at 7 games. Thank you all for joining me tonight. Be sure to tune in to all of these immediately following every Sacramento Kings game right here on Sactown Sports 1140 YouTube channel. Thank you all so much for joining me. My name is Chris Watkins. Y'all have a good night. Y'all have a very, very good Thanksgiving. Bye-bye.